Hey guys, all right. So we're going to move on with some more hacker rank. This is a follow up directly to the rotate left video, filming them back to back. So let's go on to this next one called sparse arrays. Okay. So let me line this up a little bit better. All right, so we're going to move this back and forth. Running out of real estate. That screen real estate everyone talks about. Okay, so there's a collection of input strings and a collection of query strings. For each query string, determine how many times it occurs in the list of input strings. Okay, so this is a yeah. So this is just a word match, pretty much. So you got a string list and then a queries. So two instances of A, B. Wait. Two instances of A, B. There's only. Is it measuring subs? Is it doing substrings? Matching strings, an array of strings to search, and then an array of query strings. It returns the okay. The first line contains, I guess that's supposed to be an integer. The size of the string list. Lines containing a string. The next line contains Q. Okay, there's some constraints. Okay, here we go. So, AB, so we got ABBA, BABA, ABBA, and XZXB. All right. So, okay, 2, 1, 0. So ABA appears twice. XZXB. Okay, so it's not detecting substrings. Okay, so it's literally the strings that are being passed, right? So we don't have to detect anything with substrings here. Yeah, so that's pretty much all the same. That's basically the same thing. Okay, so what's happening here is you get basically an input of queries, or you get an input of strings, and you basically have to be like, okay, how often do these different strings occur? Okay, so I don't even know what this one was listed as. I didn't even look at the difficulty level of this one. So this one can be a little bit more challenging than that appears. Okay, so let's get this laid out a little bit better. Have I already switched this to no? Gotta have my Vim, y'all. Okay, so let's move this over some. There. Okay. Now, can you? Yeah, good deal. All right, there we go. There. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about this a little bit. Okay, so like I said, so this is kind of what we're going to be dealing with here, right? So it'll be like I'm just kind of referencing some of the strings in the list that they gave us. Okay, we'd have something like that, and then we would have queries be something like this, right? XZ, XB, and then AB. Okay, so we'd have something like this. All right. Okay, so really what we need to do is iterate over string list and tally the count, right? So we would have something like, so to start, we would let's define, we'll just call it for frequencies, right? So, and then, so let's say that we see, let's say we see ABA, okay? We would do, so what would we do? Because it has to be 0, right? Because we need to be able to mark the ones that don't appear as not being there. So what we can do, so Rust has this or insert method that we could use. So we could use at or insert or 0 or insert 0. So what we could do is we could do, and we can use entry here. I've talked about entry before. So we could do that. Okay. And then if it isn't present, we can do or insert 0, right? And then this would look like this. So we would have ABA 0, right? Okay. And to and then we need, but then we need to, if it is there, right? So what we can do is we can immediately add. We can add one here. So let's write out a little bit of code. Let's write a little bit of code. I don't want to get too abstract here before and make it more confusing. Okay, so this, okay, so let's do let mute. Okay, so we have, we'll use a hash map here, right? We'll use a hash map, which will be a string and an I32, right? And then this, well, this will be hash map with capacity, and then this will be string list dot length, right? Okay. Yeah, so that defines our frequency that's going to store these things, okay? So now let's, for S in string list, okay? So we will need to dereference that, okay? And then we can, like I said, we will use entry. Okay, now what are we going to put in there, right? So remember, what entry does is it does that replacing for us, right? If something isn't there, it's going to put something there for us. So we need to do has a string, right? Has a string. And then we can do or insert 0, and then that should be that, right? So what this is doing is it's going in there, it's seeing if the string is there. If it's not there, we input 0. If it is there, we increment by 1, right? Pretty logical there. So yeah, okay. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to capture our queries so that we can pull from the frequency list, right? Because what it wants us to be, yeah, so what we need to do is we need to loop through the queries to decide, to basically retrieve the number of words, right? The frequency of the words. Okay, so for this, what we can do is we can just call this result, and this will be a vector, right? So this will be a vector with a capacity of queries, and then we'll iterate over queries. So we need to get them, right? So we'll say result.get. Where do we need to get them from? We need to get them from the frequency list. And then we can use get, right, to get what we need. It's because it's a hash map. We use get, and then, well, what are we getting? Well, we're getting the query, right? Has a string. Let me think about this. So we gotta. But if it's not there, we have to make concessions for if it's not there, right? So we can use unwrap or, right? So unwrap or here, right? Unwrap or, and then 0, right? Okay, so what we're doing is we're looping through the queries, we're pulling them out of, no, hang on, that's not right. That's not right. It should be push, right? Push. So we're looping through the queries. We're looking for those queries and the frequencies, and then if they're there, you know, we mark that plus equals 1. If they're not there, we use the unwrap or to do 0, and then we get the result back. Yeah, guys, let's see. Nice. I was concerned about that one. It worked. I'm still not used to this hackerrank stuff, man. The UI is weird. Okay, yep, there you go. We got it. Okay, so let's walk back through. That was a pretty hairy one. Like, I had to think about that one for a minute. We are at 13 minutes and 44 seconds, so not too bad. Under 15 still. Okay, so yeah, guys. So like I said, we kind of, you kind of get in the flow. We kind of laid out the first part, but then we kind of got in the flow and just knocked it out. So yeah, so a hash map with the capacity based off of the string list. We're looping through the string list, grabbing them if they're there, inserting 0 if they're not, incrementing them 1 if they repeat, and then we define a vector with the capacity of our queries. We loop through those, and then we get the query if it's there. If it's not, we do unwrap or, and then we push them to result, and then we return that, and there you go, right? So that's the thing, man. Some of these, this is a good example, right? Sometimes these instructions, they can be really confusing. There's also some spelling errors, And I think some things were worded a little weird there because it didn't really catch on to me that we weren't doing substrings until I saw the sample input and output. So yeah, guys. So that's it. We're right at 15 minutes now. So we're going to call this one done. And yeah, so I want to get some more videos out this week because next week is Thanksgiving and I'm going to be doing the Thanksgiving thing. So there probably won't be any videos next week. So I'm trying to deliver a few this week, and we'll see what happens. All right, guys. So if you have any questions about this one, hit me up. Help each other out in the comments. Respectable questions lead to respectable answers. And I'll see you in the next one. See you guys.